This is the new iPad Air and it's Apple's pure master plan. If Apple has done something right with this iPad, is that it's the perfect middle child. Let me explain. I'm gonna start off everything by saying this is the best iPad you can get. This is the best iPad you can get in terms of value. This is the middle child iPad, but guess what? The middle child is growing up and really quick, and maybe too quick. Maybe too quick for Apple. People love the iPad Air because you get a cheaper iPad Pro with sacrifices in design, sacrifices in performance, but this year there are barely sacrifices. More onto that at the end of the video. The new iPad Air now features the M1 chip, a new front camera with center stage, 5G, 2 times faster transfer speeds, and more. Center Stage is a feature that I use daily on my iPad mini. It's a really immersive way to use FaceTime. The camera detects you and will smoothly follow you, and if someone joins, the camera will add them in the call. And Center Stage has gotten better. Right now, Skype has adopted it, Zoom has adopted it, so it's a really immersive way to do business calls as well. We also get the same 12 megapixel camera on the back. It's really useful for students to take photos of their documents, of their homework. It's really important to have a good camera on an iPad. Be straight over. We also get 5G now on the iPad Air. If your city supports it, it can be really useful. And one thing that I gotta say is that having cellular on my iPad mini, for example, is really useful for those people that just work on the go. Being able to reply to emails or connecting to your meetings is super useful on the go. But Nikias, you can just share data with your iPhone. Well, I know that. The USB-C port is now 2 times faster than the previous generation. So if you connect your camera directly from USB-C or have SSDs or external storage, this might be really useful for you. Now, the protagonist by far of the iPad Air is the M1 chip. It's the most powerful chip on an iPad. I mean, it's the same chip that the iPad Pro uses. But here's the thing, as Tony Stark says, sometimes you gotta run before you walk.
He's a Jarvis. Sometimes you gotta run before you can walk.
And that's exactly what Apple is doing. I feel like Apple is running before the iPad can walk. I mean, there's nothing that we can do on the iPad Air that will slow this thing down, which I say this as a good thing, as a bad thing. As a bad thing because you've got all this power and you can't really use it anyways. We still don't have Final Cut. We still don't have Logic. We've reached the point where the iPad is too good. And that's crazy to say if you think about it. We're living on an age where the limitations on what the iPad can do is its software. The iPad is loved by many. The iPad is such a personal device. Students love it to take notes, creating presentations, annotating, marking up stuff, highlighting. The ability that this 11-inch piece of glass can replace several books in your backpack that are extremely heavy is awesome. I honestly can't imagine what my student life would have been without my Apple Pencil and my iPad. I would have probably failed everything. That is such a 21st century thing, but I'm okay with it.
Doing 90 on the jet skis. Yeah, we living. Tell these haters come and get me.
As I said, the iPad is loved by many. Today I met Julia. She's a tattoo artist and an illustrator. She does all of her illustration with Procreate and the iPad. The Apple Pencil is a must-have tool for her. She told me that there is no other tablet that she's tried out that compares to anything to what an iPad can offer for her specific use case. I also met Maria, and she uses her iPad to manage her business and take care of all the stock of the store. If a client asks for a specific product, she quickly checks the stock inside of the iPad. She told me that she loves the versatility that the Magic Keyboard has to offer her because she types in all of her emails, all the notes that she has to take, and then whenever she needs to go check out something with stock, she quickly removes the iPad and go ahead and checks the stock. It's so fun. It's so fun to see all of these different use cases that people find it really useful. Everything else about the iPad Air remains the same. We get the same stunning 10.9-inch liquid retina display with True Tone, a P3 white color gamut, anti-reflective coating. Overall, a super reliable display. We get Touch ID, no Face ID on the iPad Air. That is a Pro exclusive feature. That's a Big Brother exclusive feature, which if you think about it, when we're using the iPad in the classroom, for example, we have to wear our face mask either way. So if you think about it, Touch ID might technically be better in the classroom. Think about that. And with all of this crazy M1 performance, what's even crazier than that is that we still get an all-day battery life. I mean, we can still use, without a doubt, all day, student life, note-taking, anything that you want to take on it, and it will probably last you all day, which is awesome. As I said in the beginning, Apple has created an excellent middle brother. There are barely any sacrifices for most people. So what do you get on the bigger brother? What do you get on the iPad Pro that you do not get on the iPad Air? What are you missing? We don't get an ultra-wide camera, we don't get a lighter scanner, 120 Hz, a larger 12.9-inch size, better speakers, 600 nits of brightness, and most importantly, Face ID. So are the things that I just mentioned, is that worth it enough for you to upgrade for the iPad Pro? Maybe it is. Maybe you're a pro and you need that 120 Hz display. Maybe you do need that XDR display. Maybe you do need those 600 nits of brightness. But for most people, the iPad Air will be more than enough. But there's a catch. The iPad Air will cost you $599 for the 64GB version, and the iPad Pro will cost you $799 for the 128GB version. So if 64GB is not enough, you might consider the iPad Pro. But if 64GB is enough, the iPad Air is the best value that you can get right now. So as I said, the middle child has grown up. Good price, check. Good design, check. Good display, check. Good accessories, check. All-day battery life, check. Good performance, not really, because there is perfect performance. I mean, way too good performance. So if you think about it, what else do you want on an iPad? Honestly, what else would you want?